My name is Eesa and today I will be showing some tips and tricks with printing. So the first printing technique that I'm going to show you is called set equals and end equals, and both of those are positional arguments in print. So first let me show you set. So right now I'm gonna set some variables, and we're gonna pretend that we got some input from the user. So we want our print statement to be dynamic, and just want to print out the birthday. So this is a birthday month. I've already put that out. Birthday, and maybe we'll put it as the 27th, and the year we're gonna put that as probably 2000. So normally, if we wanted to print this out with a slash, so let me just show you what we want. We want 3/27/2000, right? So that's how we want to get it out. So let's try printing it. And so we're gonna put obviously the month first, and then that's followed by that slash. Okay, and then we need to put the birthday, and then another slash, and then finally we need to put the year 2000. And now if we run this, see that we did get our result, but not quite as we wanted, because there's actually spaces in between. So this is where set equals comes in. So I'm just going to copy paste this to new cell. So instead of using these slashes, the better thing to do is use the sep equals, and what that means is sep equals is basically means a separator, and so all the arguments, all the values that you put in here, they will have this separator in between each one of them. So since there are only two, technically there are only two the places that the separator will go into, and that's exactly where we need this slashes. So we'll just put string, and then we'll put the slash, and now if I can get this to work, if you take that out, and now it printed exactly as we wanted it. Alright, so now that we've done set, let's try and do end. So let's say that you're printing something. Okay, I'm not gonna put anything real in there. I'm just gonna put a hyphen, and then I'm just gonna multiply it by maybe 100. So it's like, well, one big line. And then let's say that you wanted to have two new lines. So if you were thinking about it conceptually, you would probably think you'd leave a line in between, and then you just do print again. And then I'll just copy paste this. And then you just copy yeah, so, and then you just wanted two lines here, and then maybe at the end you wanted two lines again. But when you run this, you see that actually it took out these, because what print does is if you haven't specified the end, it automatically does a backslash end for you. So what we need to do to counter that is that we need to do I'll just copy paste this again. And then so what we need to do is at the end we put end, and then we'll set it to, maybe we'll put it to double a backslash n, and backslash n means a new line. So we'll do that twice, and then since we want two lines in between this, we'll do the same thing. And equals, and again we'll do double backslash n. So now if we run this, you'll see that it actually did what we wanted it to do. And backslash n is just one example. You could actually make it print like statements. To say you could say, maybe at the end we can say done or something. You can do anything you want with it. See, now it says at the end done. Maybe if you want to put on a new line, again backslash n, and now it says done for you. So the next printing tip that I want to show you is called a percent placeholder, and if this looks familiar, that's probably because this comes in a lot of other languages like C. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put some variables, and we're going to try and create a bank statement sort of thing, or we're just going to pretend like it is a bank statement. I'll put the age, the balance. I'll just give it some random float value. And the bank, I'm going to put it as the Bank of America. So let me run this. Okay, everything worked out fine. And now I'm going to print out the statement. And I'm just going to say, I'm just going to put the name of the bank and the name, the bank, the name, the age, and the balance. So first we want to do the bank. And normally if you're just doing it how without the placeholder, you would do the comma and then you would put bank, and that actually looks that's not that doesn't look that nice, and it's kind of hard to read. So what you can do is do this. You can put percent, and percent S means string, and percent D means int, and percent F means float. So I'm gonna put percent S because Bank of America is a string. Now I'm gonna put the name, and that's also a string. Bob is a string, so I'm gonna do another percent S. And the age is a int, so I'm going to put percent %d, and then the last one I'm going to put the balance, and since the balance is a float, I'm going to put percent %f. So now at the end of this code, we have to say percent, which basically means, okay, I put some percents in the string, let me now tell you what they are. And then I'm going to put it into a tuple, and I'm going to say bank, and it has to be ordered. So I'm going to say bank, name, age, and balance, because that's the order they come. If you look here, bank, name, age, balance, same order. Now if we run this, you see that we actually get everything that we wanted, instead of doing it the hard way and having to put a comma and then put the variable name and then keep doing that. So it did the exact same thing. And also, as you can see, the 700, the float value came out with a bunch of zeros. And one of the features of this percent %f is that you can choose how many decimal places you want. So I can say 1 point, and then after the decimal place, you state how many place values you want. So actually, if you wanted, let's say, you wanted to 2 decimal places, which includes the 0.25. Then if we run it again, it cut off all the zeros. And just another example, if I do import math, and then I'm going to do pi is equal to math.pi, and then after that I'm just going to print it out, and then I'm going to say pi, and I'm going to put the percent %f. And if you do it without any rounding or anything, if I show you right now how it'll look, I'll say pi, run it, and now 3.141593. And actually you can, like I showed you, we can do 1 point, and then let's say we just want 3.14. We can do 2 places, and we'll say only 3.14, and then just to show you that it rounds, we'll do it to 4 places. And I'll put the original one up here actually. Print pi, and then we'll just do the normal one without any rounding. Pi, and now when I run this, see it did round. It rounded to 3.1416, so it's 159 because the 9 makes it go up. So the third printing tip that I wanted to talk about is called str.format, and what this is basically, as you can see, dot format, that means it's a method of string. So it will take the string. So let me show you. I'll just print using the data that we had here. Actually, let me copy paste this and put cell above, so that we just remember what this is. So I'm going to say the statement is, and since it's a variable, I don't need to put a print statement because that's we just know that it's a string. Same thing with the name and the bank. I don't need to print Bob out or Bank of America out. I'm just going to store the string in there. So I'm going to say bank. I'm going to do the exact same thing as before up here. So I'm going to say bank. And now this is the new syntax. If you put two curly braces, that's what the format does. You're basically saying I'm going to put a value in there. It can be any data type except probably a none type. So I'm going to put this in later. So I'm going to do the same with the other ones. Name. I'm going to put blank empty braces. Age. Same thing. And finally balance. And now you could actually just put dot. So now when I'm gonna print, when I'm gonna now I'm gonna format it. Since it's string.format, that means whatever. That means that the string, whatever. That means the variable that locates the string, not actually string.format. So I'm gonna say statement, and I'm gonna do dot format. That's the method. And then now you're gonna put all. You have to match it with the whatever's in the tuple has to be ordered according to the curly braces. So I want to put bank first because that's the first curly braces. Then the name, then the age, and then finally the balance. Again, it matches the order because it has to. Because if you see, if I put name here and then if I put bank here and run it, now it says bank Bob name Bank of America because it doesn't know which one goes to which. So these arguments are called positional arguments because they require you to put them in the exact order that the curly braces are in. So these are positional arguments. So those were positional arguments. Now there's another type of argument called keyword arguments. And so I'm going to copy paste this into a new cell. So now instead of just leaving it empty, I'm going to put a variable name or a keyword name in there. I'm going to say, actually not N, I'm going to put B, I'm going to put N, A, and B. And now down here, since I put these keywords in here, that means that I have to set these variables that I made up here. I have to set them to a value. So I'm going to say n is equal to name, uh, and the benefit of keyword arguments is that you don't have to order this bottom part, and on top of that you can refer to the keyword multiple times in your string, so you don't have to say the same variable twice in the method. So I'm going to put b equals bank, a equals age, and then b equals balance, and now if we run it, keyword argument repeated. Oh, so here's my mistake. So I said I put bank for I put two keywords. I put B for bank and B for balance. So I have to change. I'm going to say BL and then BL. So now when I run it, it will print it out exactly the same as this, but it's not ordered. And another benefit, like I said, is that you can refer to it multiple times in the string. So let me do that right now. I'm going to say I'm going to say not backslash n. I'm going to say curly braces n, which is name. So it's going to print out the name, and I'm going to say here is your information. And now if I run it, here it is. It says this name once, and here it comes again. So this was keyword argument. So we change that. So then the final way that you can do string.format is called index arguments. And what it is, it's exactly like it sounds like. So instead of putting a keyword in here, I'm just going to leave this the same. I'm just going to take out the keywords, take out this last one. And now instead of referring to it in order or by putting setting a keyword for it, I can treat this as a subscriptable iterable, and now I can just put it where it is inside this. It basically treats it like a tuple and says go to index 0 in this area. So then it's going to say, okay, index 0 is name, so I'm going to put name in these curly braces. So we can do the same thing. Bank is number 1 because Python does 0 indexing. So this is 0, 1, 2, 3. So bank will be 1, 1. and name comes again. Again, that's at 0, so I can call it multiple times. A is at 2. I mean, age is at 2, and the balance is the last one, so it's at 3. And the balance is at 3. So now if I run this, now it's going to say, and now as you can see, everything worked out perfectly. So I said, Bob, here's your information. It's the exact same thing up here. So the last printing tip that I want to show you is called the F string, and this is by far the easiest one to do, and it's actually the most recent. Python released this in version 3.6. So the string.format and the percent placeholder, that was what you had to do before. So now with F strings, everything is easier. And so for my example, I'm just going to take my get factors code, and if you haven't seen that video, the link is in the description below. So I'm going to paste that, and right here at the very end, it says return print F. See, this is the F. So if you want to, that's why it's called F strings. It stands for format strings. So if you want format, you put F right before the string, and then you put the string, and then you say, in this example, I'm going to say since this is get factors, I'm going to say the factors of, and then here the curly braces like string.format, except the only difference is I don't need the dot format. You can actually just put the variable name right there, right then and there, instead of having to put it down there somewhere else. So I can say factors of num, and if you recall, num is the positional argument that is needed by the user to whatever that num is, they're going to get the factors out of the num. And then I'm going to put \n for new line, and then now I'm going to print out a list. Factors is the list of factors. I initialized it here. So now if we run this, I'm just going to run it. I'm just going to say 12, and now as you can see, it formatted it exactly as I wanted it. So num was an integer, and it gave me the exact same one, and the factors was a list up here, and it gave me all the correct factors of the list of 12. So now let me show you. So there actually in F strings, there's a bunch of special things that you can do with it. For example, if you do bang R, or bang means exclamation point. If you do exclamation point R inside the braces, it'll give you quotes. And there are a bunch of stuff like this. All you have to do is just search it up somewhere, and you'll get a huge list of stuff that you can do with format string. So I really suggest that you learn that. And so I'm just going to show you one example. So I'm going to create a function. I'm going to call it quote, and it's gonna request a name for the function, and all it's going to do is just going to return in a format string, my name is, and then it's going to say it's going to put the name that was given by the user. So now let's try this out. I'm going to create a variable called Bob, and I'm just going to store the string Bob. And now I'm gonna try and run the function. I'm gonna do another F string actually. And now inside this, I'm gonna say, and the cool thing about F strings is that you can actually run functions inside the braces, and you can actually have nested. In some way, you can have nested F string. So now I'm gonna say I'm gonna run that. I'm gonna run that function. I'm gonna say quote, and then I'm gonna do Bob. And now outside of that, I'm gonna do says Bob. So it's like sort of a quotation. I want to do a quotation over here. So it should come out with my name is Bob, says Bob. But as you can see, we're missing the quotes around this area. So what we can do to fix that is I'm just gonna copy paste. And all you have to do is, like I said before, there's this thing called exclamation point R. And what that does is it puts quotes around whatever you put in here. So that you can put whatever value you want, and then you can put quotation marks on it. Now if I run it, now you can see my name is Bob, says Bob without any quotation marks, and then the second one it has quotation mark. My name is Bob, says Bob. So now to finish off, I'm just going to give a recap of everything, or I'm just going to go through all the one example of everything. So I'm going to create a variable called the sun, and again I'm just going to store the name sun, and I'm going to say the distance, and the distance is from the sun to the earth. It's going to be, I'm just going to make it a float, 194.197. It's a very specific number. Now I'm going to do it, this is the imperative way, right? And then so we're going to do it how you would do it without any of the string formatting or the placeholder. So I'm just going to say the distance of the earth from and then now I'm going to say, I could just say sun, but I'm just doing this, so I'm just going to put that variable in just as an example, so you could put whatever you want in there. Now I'm going to say the sun, and then now I'm going to put another comma, and then I'm going to say is, and as you can see it's already getting kind of hard to read, it's getting pretty messy. Now I'm going to say distance, and now I'm going to say million miles. Right, and now let's try and run this. The distance of the Earth from the Sun is 94.197 million miles. As you can see, it worked out. But there are better ways to do this. So let's try doing the percent placeholder. So now again, we're going to say the same thing. The distance of the Earth from and now I'm going to put a percent %s, which is a string. And then I'm going to say is, and then percent %f, and since we can round it, why don't we just round it to 94.2, so we can do percent %1.1 f, which will round it to only one place up here. So say it should say 94.2 because it'll round it. So and I'll say million miles. And now I have to tell Python, okay, here's the percent I put. I'm gonna give you the values now. So I'm gonna say sun, and distance. Now let me not distance. Let me write it again. The distance of the Earth from the Sun is 94.2 million miles. And just let me change it back to normal, just so that they all say the same thing. So I'm just going to do percent %f without any rounding. And now, as you can see, if we run it again, we actually got these zeros. So with this, you actually have to be pretty specific. So I'm going to say to 3, and now it's the exact same. Now let's do the formatting. So again, print. I'm just going to copy paste this part, because I'm just going to say the same dialogue over and over. I'm just going to change the code a little bit. So I'm going to say, instead of percent %s, I'm going to put the curly braces. And actually, it thought that I meant to put the stuff inside it. I didn't. So again, the curly braces, and now at the end, and you don't have to put this. You don't have to put this on a separate line. I can just say dot format, and now I can say the sun and the distance, because it has to be in order. And I could do index arguments, or I could do keyword arguments, but right now there's only two sets of braces in there. I don't really need it. Those things are for if you have 3 or more curly braces inside. So let's run it again, same thing. And finally, let's do the easiest one. We'll do the f string. I'll paste it inside. Let me paste it. The distance of the Earth from and then instead of percent %f, all I need to do is put inside the curly braces the sun, and now instead of the percent float, I can just say distance inside it. Now if I run it, all 4 are the same exact thing. So as you can see, this one's the hardest, and then as you go, it gets progressively easier until Python releases this, which is by far the easiest. So I hope you liked this video. Please subscribe, like, and suggest to me what you want me to do next in the comments below. Thanks for watching.